Well, welcome to some live drawing tonight. Please pardon the little mess on the floor. This is my kids' playroom that I am in tonight. And they tend to leave things everywhere in here. Um, I think I need to be over here for this to show properly. Just looking at this made me realize that I forgot to bring some extra paper. So I'm going to go get that. Can I zoom in at all? Ooh, I can. Excellent. Okay, right there. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to grab some paper and then we'll be ready to go. You're going to need a chair.
Right. I did notice.
And it's wet on the table.
I'm glad we noticed it sooner rather than later.
So am I. Right, so this card table is not the most stable thing in existence. So I apologize because there will probably be a little bit of shaking as we draw tonight.
You pull the legs out as far as they can go.
I had them pulled out, but I had to rotate the table.
That should.
All right.
I can use this chair.
Let me get these extra wires off of here. Do you have something you can monitor the chat on?
I have my phone. And I can. Yeah, I have my phone.
Okay.
I thought there was. It blended.
Man, this arm does not stay in place well.
About the kidney.
All right, so the first thing I wanted to quickly go over is I'm making a point to just use generic drawing materials tonight. I want people to see that the drawing tools that you use don't make the biggest difference. This is the one of the few exceptions. It's rubbed off. This is a crazy art pencil. The lead inside of these things is super brittle. These are junk. Throw them in the trash. At the bare minimum, this is what I recommend. The Dixon Ticonderoga pencil. I get these. This is the exact same pencil. It's just with a black paint on them instead. But I get these at Walmart. It's like a couple dollars a pack, and there's 24 in here. If you spend like $1 more, you can get these from Walmart. This is Stadler and Stadler. Not sure quite how to say that. But these are pretty solid. I've been using their pencils for years, and this is probably on par, if not a little bit better than these Dixon Ticonderoga. Probably a little bit better. They make actual drawing pencils as well, and like the different like hardnesses, and like I said, been using those for years. One thing I want to point out really quick is that it doesn't really matter too much what pencil you use, especially at first. When you buy any one of these pencils, they all have the same type of lead in them. This has an HB lead. This will come with an HB lead. This will come with an HB lead. This will come with an HB lead. So on. That is the standard type of lead that you're going to find inside of a pencil for drawing. This is just an eraser that I picked up on Amazon. It was like $10 for a 12 pack or something like that. I do change the lead in these over time to be something else, but I wanted, like I just wanted to use the same basic kind of pencils that most people are going to be using tonight. So I'm going to try not to bump the table too much, so we don't bump the camera too much. All right. Joseph is using a pen gear pencil. Those are noticeably better than the crazy art ones as well.
I'll just put that there for a
Do I
second.
have that locked? I don't. No, I do. There we go.
Let's-
Careful with the bump in the table. It really rocks it quite a bit.
All right. I'll
Here, why don't
try
you just
to-
use this?
Okay. I was trying to see if I had something unfinished that I could finish.
Well, so here's what I'm thinking for tonight. I am going to run through how I do my drawing system, and then you can walk through it with me, and we'll step through it as we draw a figure.
Sounds good.
So the main thing I focus on is drawing people. And so I'm going to show how I draw people tonight. Okay. So I primarily use a system involving 3 base shapes to figure out people. And that is a triangle, a circle, a little bit of wobbly circle, and another triangle. You're welcome to try to keep along right now if you want with me, but this is the part where I'm going. Is that visible?
Yes, that is.
No, I mean.
Let me up the quality here. That should help.
I can't tell if this is showing up on camera.
Looks visible from here.
Okay, good. I can push this a little harder as well if I need to.
Oh, sorry. Just trying to reposition. Yeah, that seems good. Okay.
Make sure you're in the camera as well.
Right.
Okay, and so this represents the upper chest. Pretty much this is everything from like your collarbone down. Your belly button's going to be somewhere inside of this circle, and then the right here is the bottom of the crotch. So I use this for figuring out where I want to place a figure as I'm drawing it. The idea here is you can turn these and so like I can do this, shoot this one all the way over here. That points the chest and the hips in different direction. Or I can come over here. I'm going to make this a thin, kind of flat one-sided triangle. And then same here. So this is like, this represents the body down, line down the center of the body. I don't draw one on here because we're looking at that figure from the side.
Ah.
So this would be the center line. On here I put balls on the end to represent where the shoulder joints go. Then down to roughly about here at the top of the circle, give or take, is going to be where the elbows go. Just a little bit past this bottom triangle is where the hands will land. So yeah, I guess I won't go so fast that you can't follow. Now, I want to talk about this circle here in the middle for a second. I like to do what I call rolling. And so I roll off of this circle right here at the point where the circle touches the triangle, and I just go down. I kind of cut my bottom triangle like this. So if it's like this, and I've got a circle going through it right here, at this point right here, where the circle and the triangle meet, I cut that triangle like that. And what's nice about this is this space right here, this represents the width of your legs. So I know if I come down here and then here, that's where my leg will be. Just real quick over here, it's a little hard to estimate the length of the leg this way because, we had this circle and the triangle to go off of. A quick, easy way to do it is if you were to like flip this triangle upside down, just kind of, you don't have to draw it out, you can imagine it. But like this bottom triangle, if you mirror it, kind of right around there where the point lands is where the ball for your other leg, for the knee would end up. It's a little high, but we can adjust that as we work on the drawing.
Gotta grab myself an eraser real quick.
I got one here if you need to use one.
There.
And then at this point, I just kind of use like almost triangles for the feet. Now, the upper body muscles, when I draw this way, I'm trying not to focus too much on the muscles, but at the same time, I'm trying to make sure that I have some basic anatomy figured out, some landmarks for the basic anatomy. And so I'm going to show you how I do that. Again, I'm going to be utilizing this ball here. So if I come up just straight from the side of this ball right here, did you see how I did that? I just straight up from the side of the ball.
Oh, the side. Got it.
And wherever it's going to land on that triangle is where it lands. But then I make a line across like this, and it go from whichever one looks more reasonable because they may not land on the same point in the triangle. But that kind of represents the give or take around where your abs are going to start.
Got it.
Now up here, just a little higher, is going to be like where your pectoralis muscles would land. And the cool thing about this is this line can be as high as the pectoralis muscles. Sometimes you just got to be thoughtful of where it lands. The lats, real quick, I roll off of this ball. Just like that. You can see it's almost in line with that. That's actually pretty close for an actual human body. Okay, for the arms, I roll off the top and come down to this one. And then I roll off the bottom of this one and come down there. Same on the other side. Then just again, roll off the ball and touch this one here. These are not going to touch the sides on the hands because you got to thin out for the wrist. And so I just kind of bring it like a gentle teardrop shape. So what I really like about doing this way with the ball as well is now we can come off the top down like that, and now we've connected the top half of our body to the bottom half.
Ah.
So this part here still feels a little funny. You can just gently extend that shape a little if you need to. And that's the basic human form right there. I drop a little box up here for the neck. Then I put like an egg shape on top of it for the head. Now after here is where you can kind of start getting fancy with anatomy and things like that if you know it. If you don't know it, I just keep, even though your shapes are simple, it looks like a person. So focus on just those simple shapes. Like I know that there's a small neck or not a small, but there's a neck muscle right here. So I'll touch those. This neck might actually be a little short, so I can lengthen that out if I need to, and I can move the head. So what I'm going to do now is knock this back. Knocking back just means I'm going to take the eraser and make it lighter, because I'm going to go in and add more detail now. I'm going to switch hands. I use both my hands so that I can have proficiency with both of them. I wasn't born ambidextrous. I taught myself to draw with my left hand, and so I go back and forth to maintain skill with both. I hurt my right hand at one point, and so that was that. And I don't want to be caught again unable to draw. Okay, so you, at this point, I want you, rather than following me, use your knowledge of anatomy just to fill the figure in as best as you can.
Got it.
Because I want people to see how you can fill it in your style.
Right. So it was nice getting a chance to see the updated version of this process. I've been using the old one for quite some time.
The old ones work pretty decent for you, right?
It has, but seeing this nice and updated is going to help out a lot going forward.
So you can see I'm mostly just where a lot of these lines landed. That's where I'm did we ever post the link for this in the Discord?
I did near the start.
All right, thank you.
We have about 3 viewers, though realistically it might be 2 because I think it counts this as one.
Well, welcome to anyone watching. We're glad to have you. But you can see just kind of where the landmarks are. I'm just sticking with them. I'm just kind of, I know I got muscle here, muscle there. The reason I rolled off that is so that I could keep following that shape. Same over here. How's yours coming along?
Come on along, okay. Just barely starting.
Well, the whole purpose of this is to help you get quicker at drawing the figure. I mean, I don't expect everyone to become like Sonic the Hedgehog drawing the figure, but it's helped to simplify the process so you don't have to think about it so much. This is where I decided like the pectoralis muscles would sit. This indent here, kind of where the lats connected, this is where the serrations are. We're going to mostly just stick to like a kind of superhero-esque, thin superhero-esque, big, I'm not sure, superhero-esque figure tonight.
Oh, someone has arrived.
Welcome to the unholy one.
Yes, you didn't. We went over how he forms the human frame, and now we're using what we went through to come up with something using what knowledge we already have.
And we're going to go through it again in a moment because I want to show how to use it with different poses. And so like, can you tell here, like if my abs come here, this is why it's important to be mindful of like where the things land, because this crotch is probably too low.
Yeah, I noticed that. I'm noticing that on mine.
So I'm going to just put it where the bottom of that ball is instead. But I'm still using the same widths for the legs. But now the knees are in a better position, even though I don't have to move them too much.
Right.
Is the figure perfect? No, but do we have a solid starting point now for drawing a more detailed figure? I would think so. These are my little cheat hands. When I can't figure out a pose to put them in, I just kind of go a rough thumb shape. Then I come down here where the knuckle would be, and I just pull back up like that. And it makes it look like he's got his hand kind of balled in a fist, but he's holding it sideways.
Yeah, that does look like it worked pretty well.
It's I've gotten away with it in many drawings, especially where I don't need a lot of detail. Okay. Yours looks pretty solid too.
Thank you.
And the nice thing is it's like even if you don't have a lot of experience with proportion, this takes care of a lot of the proportion work for you.
Right.
On that note, let me talk about proportions real quick. The nice thing about this triangle is it lets you figure out the size of the body before you start drawing it. So, if I want to draw the Hulk, for example, I know I need a really big triangle up top. And probably kind of a normal sized triangle down bottom. But I cut those proportions, kind of do the same thing again. And I know that, oh, this will work for proportions for the Hulk. The triangle controls the body. So I'm doing this one quick just so people can see how quickly I can throw a body together. And you'll see sometimes I skip little steps here and there because I'm doing them in my head.
Yeah, I hope to get that good myself as time goes on. In a way, I kind of did with the old system, so sure as I get, it won't take me long to get to that point myself.
You can see what I mean. That's kind of like a Hulk shaped.
Oh yeah, I
body.
definitely see it.
But then, like, say if you've got a tall, thin elf, you just thin up or elongate the triangle and you take that into account. Then you would elongate this one a little bit as well. That's not too different from when we started out. But I know that if my shapes are elongated, I'm going to keep doing that. Yeah, toying around with the size of these triangles allows you to control the proportions of your figure.
Yeah.
All right, let's do a different pose. People are welcome to throw poses out, or do you want to do one specific?
Huh. That is a good question.
Let's see if that helps that be more visible for a second. All right, what pose we doing next?
You know, this is out here, so might as well use it for inspiration. We can use this, do that.
Yeah, he picked up a copy of King Arthur and his Knights for $1. So, yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn the page and do it this way so that I can kind of use the whole page for the pose. Okay, that was right hand back to left hand. So, hand me that real quick.
Okay. There you go.
So, real quick, we can kind of see.
He was actually about to ask about the book.
Yes, that's where the book came from. But, like, I can kind of see that, like, there's his upper triangle. There's his lower triangle. Is that a flea? That is a flea. 1 second while I deal with the flea.
No, while he's talking about that, I'll talk about the book.
While I'm talking about the flea?
Well, while he's getting rid of the flea, I'll talk about the book. So, I'm into mythology and history, and my gaming endeavors have definitely got me more into it. But even before that, I have definitely been into all this stuff. And lately, I have definitely been wanting to read this finally because I've always liked knights. I've always been interested in the legend of King Arthur and the Round Table. This isn't a complete collection of what of it all, but it is a very nicely put together and presented collection of the tales that compose the broad strokes of the legend. And yeah, so and like the game I've been streaming lately has definitely been making me want to read through it finally.
Well, I'm glad you're going to be able to read through it. All right, so quick drink of water.
Good idea.
Let's go. Let's break down that pose.
Okay.
Let's put it right here so it's visible.
Okay.
So using this triangle method, I'd say that triangle's not super wide. And he's slightly turned, so that gives me a good opportunity to show how I turn a body with this. So I know that my line is not perfectly centered. In fact, it's off to the side just a little bit. So I move it over. And then I adjust my triangle about like that. Now, I like just a little bit of three-dimensionality when I'm turning it, so I'll do a little something like that. Just to help it look like my triangle's turned a little bit more. Alright, drop the ball in place. You could make that more three-dimensional if you wanted. I usually don't. I just, the triangles are enough. I bring in the triangle and make it just a little bit more three-dimensional, but still try to keep it following the same basic setup as the above figure. Trying to make sure I keep this where it's visible.
Right.
Okay. Now we can see we still can cut this right here where the circle and the triangle hit. And then we do the same thing up here. Come up. Bring that across. Come up. Kind of something like that. His arms are down. That doesn't matter too much. So we kind of put these balls in the same spot again. And then, like I can see his elbow is about right there. If I had the triangle on here, his elbow is like right on that center line. So about right there. His hand's going to come out. It's actually a little higher than that, but about right there. And then this one is bent. We know that his arm's back a little bit, so this ball probably moved back just
the hand
a bit.
does come underneath the hand from the far side.
Yeah, there's a little bit of perspective going on, but you can kind of get it where it needs to be with something like that. Okay, so this leg comes down like that. We've got the inside of our leg right there. Put another ball about midway down. So, you know, the leg's going to be about even distance, and so go down till it feels about comfortable. And then roll off this one. Roll off this one. We can see his foot's turned a little bit, so I'm going to put a ball right there. And a line down like this, and a line down like that. It's not perfectly turned like that, it's actually more like that, but I think it's enough to help show it. I'm going to darken these lines up a little bit so that they're,
Visible.
yeah. The one thing about the HD pencils is so the H is for hardness, and I forget, is the B for bold? I forget what the B stands for. But this HB sits right in the middle. And so you don't have to push too hard to get bold lines, but you definitely have to push harder than you would like a 2B pencil. Okay. This leg comes out forward. So we've got the cut here. You can see that the triangle comes down here, this leg's sticking a little forward. So just keep that in mind. The top of the ball right here is going to be not where that goes. Even though we can't see his other foot, we can guesstimate roll off the ball. It's probably about here somewhere. Darken up these lines. I should do this with a pen one of these nights.
Yeah, that would be good. I know we're about a few months from October, so that we could definitely take advantage of Inktober when that comes around.
That's not a bad idea. All right, so box for his neck. And then his head is actually sticking forward a little bit, so something like that. And I'm not trying to perfectly recreate it. I'm just trying to show how the pose works, how you can turn the pose a little bit using this. I suppose we should go ahead and add a little bit of detail to this one as well.
Right.
So I'm going to knock it back. I still need to be able to see enough of it to do something with it. The proportions aren't perfect, but that's why we knock it back. It gives us an opportunity to do it. Flipping hands again. I can see his shoulder muscles kind of come down like that. So that, you can see his deltoid's supposed to be kind of something in there, but I'm going to roll off that ball again. Back of the arm. Biceps kind of going right there. Back of the elbow. Something like that. Then this muscle is going to follow side of that triangle, kind of in there. This chest muscle is going to come down here. That one's going to come like that. The deltoid technically kind of wraps in with at the top of the chest. The deltoid kind of comes like that, and down into the pectoralis muscles, and the arms kind of jet out of there. And so I usually just kind of simplify that. Okay. I know rolling off this ball is how I get this kind of shape in here. Roughly the bottom of the ball, bottom of the triangle. You can draw through something if you need to. You can always erase what you don't need to be there.
Right.
Don't be afraid of drawing through part of the image. You can
Yeah.
always clean it up.
Yeah. Personally, I'm just OCD that way, but just because I don't do it doesn't mean that no one else should do it.
So from about the top of the ball is also about the top to midway down is about the socket for the leg. So something like that. And I don't know, do you think people in the chat are welcome to answer? Hi, welcome to Wind. Glad you could join us. I don't know, do you think people would appreciate seeing another one of these demo poses, or do you think they'd appreciate me starting with the pose and taking it to a more finished drawing?
Personally, I'd like to see a finished drawing from one of these, but let's see if the chat has any ideas on that too.
Because I'm thinking it might be fun to try to take one to a bit more of a finished state as well. And so what I'm trying to do here is what we're both trying to do is use the drawing knowledge we already have on top of this figure. Don't get caught up on like, what anatomy do I know? What anatomy don't I know? At this point, the focus is just taking the knowledge that you have and putting it on top of this base. The base helps you get the proportions so that even if you're not like the best at drawing a figure, it still looks a lot better because your proportions are in better places. Good proportions go a long way to help your drawing feel more complete. Even if your drawing skills aren't the greatest in the world, if your proportion is solid, how do I say this? An inexperienced artist who's got really good proportions, their art will feel much better than a really good artist technically, like someone who really is good at details and things like that. Someone whose skill is not as good, their art will still feel better than someone who's got good skill if their proportions are better than the other person's.
Right.
That having good proportions, it makes a huge impact.
Right.
All right, so there's a very cool kind of rough breakdown of that figure and how I would use it. Okay, so I'm going to just do another quick pose. How about a jumping pose?
That sounds
like a
good.
Spider-Man type pose, because that one really deforms this triangle a little bit. So the other thing is like the bottom of the triangle is kind of you point it away from the camera or towards it, depending on which way you're trying to turn the body, if it's forward facing. So like if the person's butt's further back, the triangle is smaller, and there's a wide front. If the person's butt is closer to the camera, it's going to actually be, that one's kind of hard to explain. Let's just focus on this for the moment. I know that the head's going to sit in front, so a lot of the time I wait till it's done, and so I do. But since I know that the head is close up front on this one, I just drop it right in place. So I have a measuring point. I know that the ball goes back here, and the triangle goes like this. If it's the other way, start with the triangle that's closest to you. So that's what I was trying to show earlier. If the butt's closer, you start with the back triangle. It's still going to feel, in a lot of ways, like a big triangle. And then, like, we're still going to have a small one here. But now your head goes over here.
Right.
And so that's how you control it. You have a big triangle and a small triangle still, but you're emphasizing those. Okay. So I still cut this ball, still cut this bottom triangle using that, and the legs go there. Shoulders still go there. And I'm going to, just for simplicity, pull these down like this. Those measurements, just try to make them about even. Since you don't have the figure, because when the figure is standing up straight like this, we could compare these positions to the ball. But now we can't. So just try to make them decent length, something that feels comfortable. Never underestimate the your gut feeling. See, like I just elongated one of those because it didn't feel as good as the other one. Now, this is going to be a little harder, but it still works. Line up, line across. From the side of the ball, line up, line across. I still know that that's going to be roughly where those, what is it? It goes up here, kind of denotes where the top of the abdomen is going to be bottom of the rib cage section roughly. So now I still know that this leg starts right about where that cuts. And I know that I roll off the top ball. That's going to be about right there. Same for the other side. I'm going to have one leg kind of bent and one going a little more straight out. So I think this one will be my roll it this way. This will be one that's a little straight out. And I don't know what position I want this foot in, so I'm just going to put a ball for the ankle. This one is going to bend back a little this way. But you're still going to roll it. See, watch this. Roll in that way, then roll out that way. Drop that ankle there as well.
There we go.
So what do you think would be a good thing? Because, you know, we turned it, and when we turned this other figure, we made the triangle more like that. We had a three-dimensional side. I do the same thing with this. Where do you think we'd add it, though?
Up top here.
Yeah, so, because we can see the top. It's just a quick, easy way to kind of help you remember the perspective. Okay, so now I know that I can just kind of pull the shoulder down a little like that, and there it is. So let's go ahead. We need to roll those lat. So move the ball up a little bit, and then roll that lat in place off the bottom of the ball. And then just like we did before, it's going to look a little funny. But bring it down, and then connect it to the side of the ball. And then we knock it back and we start developing.
Did I get it pretty right?
That'll work.
Okay, good.
It definitely does not need to be perfect in this stage. This is just kind of help you to get, it's meant to be a quick way to get all your landmarks in the right place. So I'm going to start with the head here in front. And it's a Spider-Man-y pose, so I might as well make it Spider-Man. Oh, I was supposed to switch hand there. So I know my neck muscles kind of come down in here a little bit. Back muscles are a little bit visible right there. That's going to come down like this. The reason I'm like not doing anatomy tutorials is specifically so people can see what it's like when you put it together. Now you don't need to have perfect anatomy knowledge. Like I think these figures are pretty solid, even though your anatomy knowledge isn't as thorough as mine.
Yeah. That is, anatomy has definitely been one of my greatest struggles.
But you're still able to make it work.
Yeah. And I am glad for that.
Let's see. I actually think I need to move this down a little bit. My measurements were a little bit off with my initial pose. Either that, I didn't pull this back to fit properly. So if I am thinking about my original triangle, I can still see it. That abdomen was about there. Abdomen ends about there. Kind of crotch region begins there. So I need to adjust. His legs are pulled way back. I actually think I want to pull this knee down instead. One of them needs to be out. I'll pull this one down. I think having it out at that angle is just going to feel funny as we start adding detail. Yeah, see, you brought yours down more like I'm planning to do.
Oh, that's good.
The angle mine was at, just, it wasn't working. And then this leg I do kind of want still a little bit more pulled out like that. The key is to get it at that right angle. So I know the ball is there. Roll out. This leg's fighting. It's like, no, I don't want to bend at that angle. You can't make me.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it feels like sometimes. Who says I can't draw it at that angle? Hold still. Ah. Nice thing with Spider-Man is you can get away with some of those uh, disproportionate, ski-wompy shapes. Now, the other thing I want to do is I want to move one of his arms. I don't like having both of them out to the side like that. Now, the triangle is still there underneath, even if you can't see it entirely, but I know, like, I can see where it was, even just using my imagination. This line, just turn it a little. I keep that shoulder there, but I want to move this other one down here. Okay, I can do that. Now, even if I don't move all this, it's still going to be pretty solid because the proportions are still in a decent place. But I know I can pull this down and wrap it around here. This arm length should be about right there. And this one should be about right there. Okay. Something like that. I am going to go ahead and move this a little bit just to make it feel a little bit more concise. But the thing I want people to remember is the triangle is meant to be a guide to help you get these things in the right places. And then you tweak as you need to land things where you want them to be. That looks pretty good. Is it visible in camera?
Guess I can go over it a little bit more to help with the visibility.
So this arm feels a little long now, but you know, I can shorten it. Remember, trust your gut instinct. One of these nights we'll do hands as well.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
So that is off to a good start, I think. There's a lot we could do with that. We could continue to play at the proportions of the positionings and just make something that worked well. Like even right here, even though I shortened this arm, now it looks like he's got like a web ball or something. right there. I mean, I know Spider-Man doesn't necessarily have, his fingers go the other position when he's shooting web. Um, but yeah, there's a rough Spider-Man figure. Okay, so next I'm going to just try to do a sketch that's a little bit more refined. Sometimes I will start with the head just to make sure I know where I want it on the paper. But I still will drop into the triangle, the ball, the triangle. This is tilted up. I can see the bottom. So it comes up here. This still cuts right about there. That's going to come across. Top ball rolls down to about there. Now, I think I know what I want to do.
Oh,
Excuse you.
yeah.
Okay. So there's basic shape. Roll, drop the lats in. Roll off the bottom of this, kind of bring it up there. You can do it again if you need to. Kind of close those off. You see I'm quickly just kind of filling it out by rolling off that ball and filling in lines.
Right.
So I think I know, let's see, should I go over that now or should I go over that later? You know, I'll go over it now because there's enough people who tend to have questions with how to get the legs down. The butt is the key to the legs.
Yeah, okay.
The reason I say that is because you've got this line. We got the ball, cut it there. This line, if I'm being honest, this line represents your butt cheeks.
Right.
But that line that goes down the middle, you can roll off of that to turn, to control the body's turn. So like I'm turning it this way, I know the top socket comes out about there. And then I know if this one's turning, out here is going to turn the same way as well. This is going to go like that. I erase those inside lines that I don't need anymore. And I've got this turning now, turning set of legs. But whether it's turning just about any position, if you can figure out the shape of the position of the bottom, you can use the center line on it to draw the rest of the leg by rolling off that middle line. So, I mean, it makes sense because your butt muscles are so strongly affected to the control of your legs. So knowing how they flow from one to the other allows you to control that.
Right.
So down here, the thing is, it's very easy to make an image look sexualized by not taking into account the shape of the whole region.
Right.
So like right here, I know that his leg is going to start here, kind of wrap around this way. And then like this. But if I just leave it like that, it looks funny. So like that. Okay. If anyone has any questions, they're welcome to ask, and I'll do my best to answer them. Okay, I'm gonna knock this back. That's enough detail for me to start taking this in the direction that I want to go. Sorry about the squeakiness of the table. It is an old table.
Yep. But it serves me faithfully.
Okay. I'm actually going to start with the legs because they're furthest forward in perspective. I know the knee shape kind of something. The table is rocking like a hurricane, yes.
Yeah, I am.
That's exactly where my mind went to. This foot, I think I'm actually going to turn up a little, something like this. Ugh. This leg. Well, this is quickly roughing in the shape of that leg. Knee kind of comes up here. Back of the leg's going to kind of do this number. Sounds like dinner's catching up with you.
Oh, it is, yeah. I left no leftovers from my portion.
Ate it all, huh?
Ate it all. Hey, Hollow You Bell, glad to have you on stream.
We finished me explaining how I use my drawing system, and now I am just working on a demonstration of how I put it to use.
Yeah. I did some stuff myself earlier, but now I'm just letting him work his magic as I take it in.
And I've been alternating my hands back and forth. It's a right-handed turn right now. Let's see, I'll leave that for now. Okay. Come up here to the other nice thing is because I've already got a rough shape in, I can jump around.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
Okay. This is going to come like this. So yeah, just trying to show how I use this to control my proportions and just quickly block in figures. These muscles are too small for this character. Okay. I'm trying to keep my hand. Let me turn that page a little bit, see if that makes it a little bit more visible, because I'm trying really hard not to cover it while I'm working on it. What kind of position? How would you describe this pose so far?
As a I'm coming down to get you pose.
Okay, good. That's kind of what I was going for. Figured I'd stop and ask, just to make sure it's reading
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta.
the way I was hoping. I think the belt's too low, so I'm gonna move that up a bit. Because his bottom is turned, so the belt is gonna sit more up here, I think. Okay. Don't draw this character super often, but I thought it'd be a fun one because people would probably recognize him fairly quick.
Oh. Yep, I recognize him already.
I'm getting ready for bed already while also reading Lost Belt 6. I'm currently on section 30. How many
Oh.
sections are there in the current Lost Belt?
This is the longest campaign yet, and it's like I heard. Do you know what Steins Gate is?
Yes, I do.
No, I heard the original novel for that was massive. And from what Hollow told me in one of my past live streams is that Lost Belt 6 eclipses Steins Gate by a lot.
That's pretty big. I haven't finished Steins Gate, but I have it.
Ah,
If you ever want to play it, it's on the PlayStation.
good to know. But yeah, I've been usually when main story content comes out, like the Lost Belts and Singularity in the video game FGO, which is the current story is making me want to read this King Arthur and his Knights. It's I try to complete it as fast as possible so I'm ready for whatever events and other goodies the game throws at me, but this one's so massive it's just taking everything I have to finish it as fast as possible.
So Black Card is still on. It's so massive that it kept Joseph from playing Final Fantasy XIV.
Yes, I was not expecting that it to take time from that. So I'm not getting a new subscription to 14 until this Lost Belt is done. But I was real happy to get Black Mage unlocked on the last day of playing it, Final Fantasy XIV.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the reason why it was broken up into 3 parts.
That is such a big story for a mobile game if it's broken up into 3 different sections. That's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, the story before last, which was Lost Belt 6, they intentionally broke that one up into 2 because it has 2 main areas that feel very distinct from one another. So they wanted to maintain the separate feeling. But this time, it wasn't a matter of we wanted things to be distinct. There was just that massive.
Let's see. I like that
Yeah.
one better on bottom.
Yeah, so yeah, once I'm all caught up in FGO, uh, I'm definitely gonna put it, well, maybe not right as soon as I'm caught up in FGO, but sometime after I'm caught up, I'm definitely gonna put down another subscription for Final Fantasy XIV. But until I'm ready for that subscription, there is a game I'm hoping to stream in the meantime.
Yeah, definitely best to focus on one at the moment, because those huge games definitely take a lot of time commitment.
Yeah. So I'll be as fun as this story is, the story for the current game is, I am definitely gonna be happy when it's done and I can finally play some other games. Though I have been enjoying it though.
See if I can do this without making the table continue to rock like a hurricane.
Right. Oh, I am taking my time indeed. It's kind of a combination of taking my time.
And wanting to move on to other things.
Exactly. So it's definitely a balancing act as far as my priorities go. But when I'm playing it, I am definitely having a good time. It's like I start when I left off in my, yes, it is peak fiction. Yeah, yeah, it's like one thing I am definitely appreciative of FGO is that it makes me want to actually study the mythologies that each campaign is set in.
See, one of the reasons I stopped playing FGO so much is because I was enjoying it so much that I was sinking too much time into it.
Yeah, I understand. From what I understand, events in future FGO events aren't as content heavy as what we've been getting. I hear last year's Japanese summer event only took about like a week to complete as far as the time it takes to actually complete the main story.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, so I feel like they are indeed trying to make it more casual friendly going forward. It's just in NA we're not there yet.
You know, I find it funny that they have to make a mobile game more casual friendly.
Yeah.
Because isn't that like one of the goals typically of mobile games is to be casual friendly?
Yeah. I understand if the main story's content heavy, but the events, I prefer the events to be faster to get through.
I like how this guy's turning out. There's a couple things I don't like. Like this arm feels funny.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can do something about that real quick. But for the most part, I think it's a fairly decent showing of how I use that system.
Yeah, so
A little tweak.
yeah, this tonight was definitely a good education for me in terms of improving my art. I'm hoping to really employ it more as I go on.
What this tells me is I need to do more of these drawing streams.
Oh yes, that is a must.
So tonight I feel a little rusty.
Ah, yeah. I was feeling that too, though I was getting some practice in earlier in the week as I work in this here. That's actually I got this particular one myself. Sam got me a smaller version of it.
But it's make your own comic book.
Okay, there it is. Okay, yeah, so I've just been working on something in here largely using the system, well, an older version up to the recent page, but it's definitely been working on me. These two in this panel here was definitely done using an older version of the system, and I think the proportions definitely come across the way they need to. Yeah, the events have been kind of been back and forth about the pacing they take. Yeah, that is true. It's like lately they have been Some haven't been as story intense and others have been. I think the last time there was a really story intense event was Summer 5. It's like that one was so intense when I did it the first time around last year. There were some people just asking me. I think it was just one person asking me, "Am I going to make the text go faster so I could get to the combat?" But I tried something new for a few events after that, but I realized that's not how I like to stream, so I went back to playing the story the way I should.
Yeah, I think playing the story the way you enjoy it is fun. I mean, there are plenty of people who like to skip the story in favor of like getting to combat events. We are not that.
Nope. But
Okay.
yeah, it was indeed a slog. Enjoyable, yes, but definitely doesn't make for repeat viewings or readings, as the case was. Oh yes, I need to read every detail myself.
Yeah, that's part of why I haven't been playing is because I try to read everything, and I've got like catching up to do, and it's gonna take forever to catch up at this point. It feels like.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just knock some of this in over here. You're welcome to ink this one later if you feel like you want to.
We'll see. But I do appreciate the offer nonetheless.
So one thing I'd like to point out, because it might become a problem in the near future, I think I'm okay. I have not sharpened this pencil once since I started using it at the start of the stream. You shouldn't have to sharpen your pencil constantly. If you've got a good tip on it, it should last for quite a while. One of the big mistakes people make is they just keep holding the pencil the same way the whole time, and it wears it down on one side, and before you know it, you've hit the wood. Rotate the pencil as you're using it, and that'll help prevent that
Good to know.
from happening. You see that every time I pick it up. Rotate it just a little bit.
Ah.
I don't even think about it anymore. It's instinctive.
Just shows how long you've been at it.
Yeah, but it makes a big difference for not running out. What's your stance on wooden pencils versus mechanical pencils? I like both.
Same. It's like, like, I do prefer wooden over mechanical, but I'm not gonna favor. Well, that's the wrong thing to say. I'm not gonna disparage one over the other. They're both pretty fantastic.
For me, it depends on when and where I'm going to be when I'm drawing. If I'm out and about, a pencil sharpener is just an extra thing to carry. I would much rather go with mechanical. If I'm doing all kinds of like things like this, where I'm just kind of quickly turning the pencil on its side and throwing it in, that's a lot easier to do on a wooden pencil.
Yeah. Personally, I prefer wooden pencils because, speaking strictly from how I feel, it makes me connect with the old masters that way. Because I look into how they did their art and what tools they used, and most of the time they just used regular wooden pencils. Heck, most of my inspiration when they were at it didn't have mechanical pencils. It wasn't into thing during their day. So it just makes me feel closer to them in that regard.
Yeah, for me, it's all about convenience. I think Joseph, that's a great point to make, like feeling closer, because art's a pretty emotional thing sometimes as well, and so you need to be able to feel inspired while you're working. But I feel inspired when I'm not slowed down.
Yeah,
So I like to be fast.
yeah. When I feel like I need to get something done, I will do whatever it takes to get it done, even if it means using my least preference to the tool I prefer the least in order to do it.
Okay, I think
So,
shadow, probably something like that.
having said that, I do have my favored non-wooden pencils. Let's see if I have any in particular on me.
But yeah, I like both. The nice thing about the mechanical pencils is you can change the lead type in them. Like this one, I believe, has a B lead in it. This one has 2B. This one is another one with HB, and I think this one's got a 2B lead in it as well.
Yeah, and this one here has blue lead in it for non-photo blue for making it easier when you scan.
But these you obviously can't change the lead in them. If you want a different type of lead, or graphite really, because they haven't used lead in pencils in a long time, you've got to buy a completely different pencil with that kind of lead inside of it.
Yeah. Then this is not a mechanical pencil, but a lead holder. This is my second favorite one because I got this one from the Joe Kubrick Comic School, or World of Cartooning, however they label it. But that was a good time. I wasn't able to finish the course, but for a while I was doing like
It was
like
mill course.
yeah, a Mel course where I drew and stuff, sent it in, they sent it back with their critiques, and I forget if it was grading. I do have the stuff, so I'll just have to dig it out and see how they rated it, but it was quite the experience. I wish I actually finished it. But yeah, so that's why this is my second favorite one, because I just felt like it was a good experience and I got a really good tool to mark the occasion with it.
I really like those lead holders. I have several of them.
Yeah.
They're kind of the best of both worlds. So the reason a number 2 pencil is called a number 2 pencil has nothing to do with the lead. It drove me absolutely crazy in school when I'd be trying to take a test with one of these. And the teacher was like, you can't use that. You got to use a number 2 pencil to make sure you can mark the fill-in bubbles properly. I find it funny that this says number 2 on it because it's completely a lie. It's a lie. What makes this a number 2 pencil is that it's a 2mm lead on the inside. This is a 0.7mm lead. They just put number 2 on here because that's what everyone thinks they are. But yeah, these both have the same lead in them. It's just a different size. There's literally no benefit to taking a test with this over this, except that it might take just a second longer to fill in the test bubbles, if they even still do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are kind of, where'd it go?
I'll pull it back up. There we go. There you go.
These are kind of the best of both worlds because it has the entire 2mm lead as a removable stick. And so you can buy them different thicknesses. This is an HB. Same thing that's in the yellow pencil I'm using right now. And this is actually a good point to make. Staedtler makes some of the most popular lead holders in the world. They're also the ones who made this pencil set that I found at Walmart. These are just a bunch of HB pencils. Same lead in here, probably that's in here. Or pretty close to. So you definitely don't need anything too fancy just to make drawings. That probably was a little bit, that turned from an answer into a little bit of a soapbox.
That happens sometimes. Yeah, sometimes you're just passionate about something and that passion just comes out.
I'm passionate about teachers not telling me to use a number 2 pencil.
That's right.
Always drove me crazy.
Yeah.
And then, like, you try to tell them, but I know more about pencils than you do. Not in those words. But they're like, look, I've been a teacher for a long time, and this is a number 2 pencil. It's like, so just because you've been a teacher for a long time means you know everything about pencils. Got it. Now, I'll trust my art teachers when they talk about one pencil over another because they usually have reasons. And their reasons were like, well, it works better when you turn it on the side, which is I'm doing now. I learned that from an actual art teacher, and he had a valid point. So, and it had nothing to do with taking tests.
Yeah. Art school. That was quite the time.
Okay, let's see. Just a couple more things here, and I think I'll call this done.
Okay, while he's doing that, I'm gonna.
You want to talk about the upcoming plans for your stream?
Exactly. I was looking for a specific word, but that works. So, I have finally got to a point with making my game tokens or doing the next session of the Tales of Yojimbo, my current
I thought it was
solo.
Yojim Boy.
Yeah, thank you, Yojim Boy. Yeah, sometimes I mess that up. So, to continue the Tales of Yojim Boy, my current solo role-playing game, and where it's set in a gothic fantasy western thing. Think of if the world of Diablo was fast forward into its version of the Old West. That's kind of what I'm going for. I've already done one session and it's been a few weeks since then, and I'm hoping it won't take me that long to continue on with it, and I can get back into the groove of things with that one.
I think that'll be a good one for you to get back to.
Yeah.
I just love the concept of the world that they're in, like a Wild West Diablo world.
Right. The first session, it definitely felt rough because I was getting into just really establishing that world, but I feel like session 2 I'll have an easier time getting into it since I've gotten all the hard work done in session 1. And yeah, so that'll be fun to continue, and I'm planning on a Thursday stream for that.
Thursday this week?
Yeah, this week, yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, because I would do it tomorrow, but tomorrow this guy's got a birthday here and I need to be available to celebrate it.
He says your thing sounds like Borderlands.
I guess it kind of does.
Did you ever finish Borderlands?
I did not.
We should play that. It's got a co-op mode.
Yeah, that would be fun to play on stream.
My phone is alarming. Sorry. Ugh.
Anyway, and to continue on, oh yes, and I'm still doing FGO, and hopefully I'll finish Lost Belt 6 soon, because I don't know if I'll finish before Oberon drops on Monday or not. We'll see. if I finish before then that just shows I was able to pull it off in so short a time. If not, then I'll have Oberon to help me finish the rest. And anything else? Oh yes, at the end of the next Yojimboy stream, I am going to announce the other video game I'll be playing to fill the void Final Fantasy XIV has left. It's one I've really been wanting to play. It's been making it's kind of
burning a hole in your game collection.
well, I've played it before, just not on stream. But I've noticed on YouTube, it's kind of coming back into popularity as far as people talk about it is concerned. So now it seems like the iron is hot, and now it's time to strike. So I'll be doing 3 games: the FGO, the game I'll announce next Yojimboy stream, and Yojimboy. So yeah, that is definitely gonna be in the near future for me on my channel.
For anyone who wonders why I put the letters like LH or RH or BH whenever I sign it, it simply stands for done with left hand, done with right hand, or done with both hands. It's a way for me to keep track of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry the alarm was got you anxious there, Unholy. It was
That made me jump thinking it was my phone telling me to get up and go to work. Apologies. It is not time to go to work.
Yes, you still have.
He's still got tomorrow. Wait, no, he's got Tuesday and Wednesday off, if I'm not mistaken. So he's still got tomorrow off, but he does have to go to bed early tomorrow.
Yes, so you still have time to rest before then.
All right. Well, there is my image done using a generic number 2 pencil, and this actually is a number 2 pencil because it's the 2mm with the HB lead. That is most easy to find.
Yeah, I also have a 2B by a different.
It's a HB.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I have an HB
2mm.
2mm by a different manufacturer, but still.
But yeah, so what you use doesn't matter nearly as much as how you use it. So let's see. I will be streaming next week with any luck. It will be Monday. I really don't like having to push them off till Tuesday. But I'm going on paternity leave soon. And so I've been trying to wrap stuff up at work before I go on leave. And so that's why I didn't stream last night. Baby is due next week. And so we may or may not have a stream next week. But if we don't next week, we should be back the week after. I will let everyone know in the Discord or the community tab. Please join the Discord. I will add the description a little later tonight. Add it to the description a little later tonight. Or you can find it on one of the other videos. This is a live one from my phone, so I didn't have a second to add it. But thank you very much to everyone for joining us. It was great to have you all. And I hope you all have a good night. And hope you got something out of watching the drawing session tonight. Talk to everyone later.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.